The more perfect you are, the harder it is for people to connect and relate to you. If I can do it, you can too. That's a great first question, Tim.
Hey everybody, welcome to How to Be Mesmerizing. It's Tim Scher, and today we have another spectacular gentleman in the house with us. Evan Carmichael is here. Evan, welcome to the program.
Thanks for love, Tim. Good to be here, man.
It's so good to have you. So Evan, what would you say is your secret to success?
That's a great first question, Tim. Thanks for that. I would say two things, especially in terms of leaning into difficult situations, is one, understanding that I'm built to serve, that it's not about me, that it's about helping. And then two, constantly reminding myself that I do difficult things. So even this week, for example, and listen, I've had the good fortune to have Tony Robbins on and Gary Vee and Grant Cardone and all those guys. This Monday, I had Kevin O'Leary on my channel. And this is the first time that I met Kevin. I didn't know him. I know of him, but I've never actually connected with him and his team. And I was scared to do the interview. And it's easy to logically say, well, you've had Tony and Gary and Grant and all these people on. But logically, yes. But my biggest fear is still that I'm going to disappoint people. My biggest fear is I'm going to show up, I'm going to go live on an interview or go live on somebody's stage and forget my lines or forget what I'm going to say and disappoint people. And so for the hour before that interview, I was researching and preparing and planning and trying to think of what I'm going to ask. And I kind of wasted 45 minutes of that. Like I knew what I was going to ask in the first 15. And then I spent the next 45 just procrastinating. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't really dive into any other project. And I just wasted time.
Yeah.
And the thing that always kind of gets me through, because Evan from 10 years ago would have said, oh, I can't do that. I'm not ready, right? Kevin's team reached out on Friday and we're doing an interview on Monday. I would have said, I need research. I need to know what we're talking about. I need the perfectionism would kick in. And so the thing that I constantly have to remind myself of is I'm here to serve. I want to help. It's not about me. I need to get the information out to help other people who are struggling, because there's lots of people who are struggling, and I can be a voice. And if I'm not doing it, I'm actually being selfish. And then the second part is that I do difficult things, that being afraid of something, being scared, the fact that it's hard is not a good enough reason anymore. And I think that's just a constant battle. It's easy to talk about things that I've overcome, but this was this week. It's not like, that it's done. I'm done solving it. It's an ongoing thing. And one of my favorite quotes is, beyond the mountain is more mountains. So a lot of people think, well, once I get to the top of the mountain, then that's good. I'm set. But you don't actually want to be at the top of the mountain, because then you hate your life. You like the growth. You want to progress. You want to learn. And so beyond the mountain is more mountains. So I like struggling with these things because it means that I'm challenging myself and I'm ready for the next level of growth.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Your third new power belief is that not being perfect is what makes me lovable to my audience.
I've had to really work on that. The more perfect you are, the harder it is for people to connect and relate to you. And this is a real mind twist for people, because you want to appear like you've got it all figured out and think, well, I need to be the leader and I need to always be right. And I need to always show this, the perfect side that's going to inspire people. And there's a piece of that that's true, that if you don't have credibility and people don't think you have answers, then yes, they won't follow you. But what ends up happening is a lot of people will see you as being too perfect. And you say, well, Tim is he's mesmerizing by default. So I can't do what Tim's doing. There's no way. Like, look at him and look at how he presents himself. He doesn't know what I'm going through. Meanwhile, you probably do. You probably came from a worse situation than they did. And this is why you want to serve and help other people as well. And I really struggled with this. And in the past year, I updated my website to really share my story about going to see a child psychologist and all the insecurities and fears and doubts that I had, and being, a kid in school and hiding under my desk because I couldn't hear properly and being too afraid to talk in class. And why I did that was I looked at my contemporaries. I looked at Tony Robbins and you look at his website and you see people jumping and going crazy. And I love that. But if you're not already into personal development, you think he's crazy. you think that's nuts. It's like, what's this cult that I'm joining? And so
Mhm.
it's that it looks like he's got it all figured out. And then it makes it actually harder for somebody to connect to. And so I wanted to go the other way and connect to the people to make you say, no, hope is possible. I'm just like you. I've been through a whole bunch of stuff and I'm still dealing with it too. And that doesn't prevent me from going off and creating. So if I can do it, you can too.
I love you said that. And everybody needs to go to your website, evancarmichael.com, just because it's such a beautiful website. It's so different than a lot of the other sites that are out there. And it really does take you from the very first graphic you have. It takes you on this journey. And you're right. The goal is to learn how to love ourselves. Insecurity is the belief that we are not enough. I'm not good enough. And because I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And then we develop all these ways to try to figure out how to feel loved or special or important. And a lot of times we end up, acting in ways trying to avoid pain that end up creating more pain. Right. And so, the idea of and if you ever want to upgrade that, I can help you real quick to do that, because I spent 30 years figuring out how to help people with anxiety and post-traumatic stress, because that's what I went through, and help thousands and thousands of people shift it unconsciously instead of trying to logically talk themselves into feeling confident and safe. It always comes back to that biggest fear that we're not enough. And so you're right, there's always more mountains, and no matter how many you climb, there's going to be more. And so the more real and authentic you are, I think that a lot of internet people, I don't know your thoughts on this, there was this idea that you got to be more authentic. And so people took that as, well, I got to fall apart on camera. I got to cry and yell and do embarrassing things and then show everybody that. And then they'll see how real and authentic I am. And that's not really what it was about.
Yeah, I think it's really diving into your story. So, if your story, Tim, is about having gone through anxiety, then it's, as you say that, it's going to be hard for people to understand that Tim struggles, with anxiety. He's got it all figured out. He's got these guests coming on the shows. He's so put together. He's thoughtful. He shifts this in other people. How did you struggle with anxiety? This doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, you did probably more than most people listening right now. And so that's the story to share, whether that was Tim as an 8-year-old or a 20-year-old or, whatever those painful moments were, it's sharing that so people can learn, oh my gosh, he's actually gone through it. He understands me. And look at what he's doing now. What it does is give hope. Like Tim from 20 years ago would never look to Tim now and say that that's possible. Say it's impossible. The fact that you've done this and helped all these people have this show going on. Like it's not, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. And yet here you are, you've done it. You're an impossibility.
Yeah. I would have said that, a few months ago with some of the guests that I've had on. It was like, there's no way that I'm going to have Brian Tracy or Bob Proctor on my program.
There's no way.
It's impossible.
And yet it happened.
It
right?
happened. Yeah.
And so that you have become the impossibility. And there's lots of people who currently are Tim from a couple months ago or 5 years ago or 20 years ago. There's lots of people who right now are that exact same person. And you can help them in a way that an Evan Carmichael or Brian Tracy can't. Because Tim from 20 years ago doesn't want to listen to Brian Tracy. But he would listen to you because you know exactly what he's going through. And so for me, that's what authenticity is. It's not about you breaking down and crying about something happened in the news cycle or what the president said or something. It's you're built to serve. Your purpose comes from your pain. And I just need to know before I'm going to listen to you, because you have all the answers. And I think this is where a lot of people fall apart. The coaches, the experts, the thought leaders, you have the answers. You know how to help people. You know how to shift people to get a result, but they're unwilling to listen to you until they know that you actually understand them because you've been through it before. So that's a piece that so many people are missing. They're getting to the teaching right away and then realizing, why are people not like the answer's right here? Just do this. They don't see you as the person to help them because you're too perfect. So just taking me into that story makes them feel the hope. And the hope allows them to actually take action on the ideas that you're saying.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, everybody, that was beautiful, Evan, beautiful. Now, I want everybody that's listening or watching this to soak in everything that Evan just said, because he's spot on. It was brilliant. And then I want you to watch this again and watch how he delivers what he's saying. Don't listen to what he's saying. Watch how he delivers it and where his attention is. Because another thing that makes you so good, which is why you have had the most successful people on the planet want to come on your show and be a part of what you're doing and hang out with you and take their picture with you and all that stuff. The reason they want that is because you focus so much on making it about them, right? And what a lot of people do is we can't help but make it about ourselves. Right. And that sabotages us. You want to be very you focused. Now, people like you and people like me, even though we wanted attention, it would really make us uncomfortable. And so we got used to focusing on other people and giving other people the attention. And when you first start being the face on the, in the interviews, it can be very uncomfortable. But you work through it and then you start to realize that, you're as worthy as anybody else that you're interviewing. And everybody that you're interviewing, no matter who they are and how famous or how rich they are, they all have the same kinds of worries or distresses that we might have. And so it just starts to build up a new belief and a new level of confidence that, hey, I actually matter and I can make a difference. And then it allows you to. So.
Yeah, I think my story, I never felt good enough to share my story, mostly because I was profiling all these people. It started with my website, then moved to my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And I have a series on my channel that was the top 10 rules to success, where I model different successful people and break down, hey, here's the 10 things you can learn from them. Mm-hmm. And the number one request on my channel, I would always say at the end, hey, who else you want to make a video on? Put it down in the comments below. And the number one request was me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, thousands of requests, and the number one request of everybody was me. And I couldn't understand, like, who cares about me? I mean, great. I built a company. I sold it when I was 22, had some success, but compared to Oprah and Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and the people on profile, like, who cares about me? And it was one of the biggest fights I used to get into with my agent, because my agent, he's trying to book me on speaking gigs and book deals and all this stuff. And so he wants me obviously to be more, front and center and the face. And he would always say, Evan, the problem with you is you don't want to be famous. It's like, I have no need to be famous. I'm an introvert. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be famous. It's not about me. It's about the message. I want to share people's stories and inspire people. Yeah. And we fought for years. And then he said something like, the more famous that you get, the more people can actually hear your message. Mm. And then it was actually selfish for me not to share my story. I thought it would be like egotistical and selfish of me to share. And I had to make the switch to say, this is even about me. It's selfish for me not to share. That in me sharing, it actually empowers and could inspire somebody else who is like me. And that, my silence perpetuates the silence. And so it took more courage. And this was I've been on YouTube for 11 years. So this has been a slow progression. I'm sure you could teach people how to get through it a lot faster than the journey that I had to go through. But recognizing, I think some people definitely are more kind of self and ego driven. And so they need to learn to be more humble and focus on serving and helping. Mm-hmm. I came from the other side where I'm naturally humble, but to a fault. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's too much humility and not recognizing, I'm pretty kick ass at what I do, mm-hmm. and owning that, because that would prevent me from going off and doing the things that I need to do to actually solve the problem that I want to solve, which is my most important mission that I'm on, for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell me more about that mission. What does the future look like for you?
So I think the world's biggest problem is that people don't believe in themselves enough.
I agree.
I think whatever world problem, people want to throw out there, cancer. Well, I think the woman who solves cancer could have solved it by now, but she's, a manager at an accounting firm and hates her life because she never believed in herself enough to go to medical school and chase down that career. I like to say that everybody has a Michael Jordan level talent at something. Mm-hmm. Well, you're the greatest in the world at something. Mm-hmm. And chances are it's not what you went to school for, or what your parents did, or what the people around you did. Chances are something totally wild and different. And so most people, don't believe that they have Michael Jordan level abilities at something. Mm. And then the ones who have found it don't believe in themselves enough to chase it down. They find all the reasons why they can't win instead of the 3 or 8 why they can. And so that's my mission for the rest of my life, is to try to unlock as many people as possible, knowing that I'm never going to solve that problem.
It's beautiful. And, perhaps we're not supposed to solve the problem. We're supposed to give the people tools for them to solve their individual problem with it, right? Maybe everybody starts out feeling insecure. Maybe not everybody, but that's part of it. We start out in victimhood, and then we transition into empowerment, and then we just keep moving through the journey until we have awakening or self-enlightenment or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, I'm reminded of Ted Turner's story where his father had a goal to be a millionaire. And Ted Turner, founder of CNN, owner of the Atlanta Braves, and, massive billionaire. His father, his goal was to be a millionaire. He hit his goal. He became a millionaire and then killed himself because he reached his goal. And it's funny how often when we reach a goal, we then feel empty. We celebrate for 18 seconds and then you feel empty. Like, oh, well, now what am I supposed to do? Like, where am I going next? Because it's really the climb that you want to do. It's the process. And so Ted Turner then took over his dad's company. It was a advertising company. And he was 21 or 22 or something. And then vowed that he was going to set a goal for himself so big that he would never reach it because he didn't want to end up depressed and kill himself like his dad did. And so that really, I read that book early in my life, and that kind of had an impact. I forget the rest of the book, but that one section left its mark on me. I want to set a goal so big that I never hit it. And helping people believe in themselves more. I'm never going to reach every human on the planet. It's just not going to happen. But I'm going to try every day to reach as many people as possible. Whether that's my content, whether it's being a guest on your show or books or speaking, everything else that I'm doing. Just like this, the starfish story on the beach.
Sure. Yeah.
You got a million starfish and the girl's trying to throw them in one at a time. And then the guy says, well, you're never going to help all the starfish. No, but I helped that one. Is that mindset. It's like, hey, I may not solve the problem, I may not help everybody, but I can help one. I can help him and I can help her, or I can help those 100 people and those 1,000 people. And that's where you actually end up getting deep fulfillment for life, is people want to wake up and know that the work you're doing today matters, that it means something. If you woke up and felt like today you were going to do something that would mean something to somebody and help shift them in a positive way, you're going to have so much more energy, light, positivity, happiness compared to if you woke up today and felt like nobody cares. Doesn't matter if I show up or not. I think that's where most of America and most of the world lives, unfortunately. And again, I'm just trying to shift as many people from that side to this side as possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. Sometimes I haven't read that book about Ted Turner's dad, but it's not just that we hit the goal. It's what we think we have to sacrifice to hit that goal, right? Or it's the beliefs that, something's supposed to happen once we hit that goal. And then when that doesn't happen, then we lose, whatever it is. It's not the situation you go through. It's the meaning that you give it. And a lot of times we have these meanings that we create in our mind, these beliefs that we have in our unconscious that we don't even know are there and that we did not create, that we absorbed when we were younger. And so I love the fact that it's important for you to shine and to shine as brightly as you can, Evan, because that is going to allow other people to see you and move towards the message. Because you're right, there's so many people that have never heard of any of us, that have never, I was just talking with a guest a while back about there's plenty of people that have never heard of Tony Robbins or, Brian Tracy or Les Brown or any of these people, right? And so, but the more we continue to shine and share our message and impact people, the more those people will share the message. And it's like those old shampoo commercials. They told two people and they told two people and so on and so on. And it creates that ripple effect. So I love that. I love that you're setting a really enormous goal with the intent of trying to, shoot for the moon. And if you miss, you're still among the stars. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to be different than Brian Tracy or a couple of other people where I only have the mission and then what I'm working on right now. And I'm not really focused on where I'm going to be in 5 years. I don't think you can, with any degree of certainty, predict where you're going to be in 5 years. I think if you looked at where you were 5 years ago, Tim from 5 years ago couldn't predict that this is what you'd be doing in 5 years.
That is correct.
With like 0 degree of certainty. If you're growing, I mean, if you have 0 growth in your life, then sure, okay, like you're going to be doing the same thing in 5 years. You can kind of predict that.
Just 50 pounds heavier.
But like if you're learning and growing and investing in yourself, next year you'll be different than where you are right now, let alone in 5 years. And so I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years. I have no idea. 10 years, I have no idea. Doing something amazing, but I got a mission.
Yes.
That's driving me. And then I'm working on what I'm working on right now. So, being on your show helps fulfill my mission. It's another chance to reach a new audience and meet another great human who's on a similar path. And who knows how that all works out. Maybe we end up doing a joint venture and business partners for life, or maybe I never see you again. I don't know. But this is part of it where I think people get too locked up in their plans. It's not about having 0 goals. I think you can set some goals that can help you, but it's just being willing to dive off. People stay consistent with trying to hit a 5-year plan and then forgetting about their mission, where you should have jumped off that plan 3 years ago because it actually doesn't serve you anymore.
Well said. Yes. Again, more wisdom just pouring out of you, Evan. Really, the idea is that you can be excited about where you're going in the future and set some goals for yourself, but really to live in the moment and be passionate about what you're doing. Let your mission and your vision draw you into that great unknown, and just assume that it is going to be awesome, whatever it is, and then focus on how you can create as much joy and value right now today, just in case that future doesn't come. I might not be here tomorrow. And so I want to make today as awesome as it can be. That's why I have you on the program.
And ultimately I think it's still going to come down to service. You can get the happiness. Eating a bowl of ice cream will make you happy. You can get these moments of fleeting happiness, but if you want deep, ongoing fulfillment, deep levels of happiness, it's going to come from helping others. Knowing that you're going to wake up today and do something important that matters is the thing that will fuel you, me, your audience, everybody for life. We deeply want to serve. How to get over the feeling of not feeling good enough is go help somebody. Go help somebody. Go recognize that you have the ability right now through your knowledge, to your wisdom, to your actions to go make somebody else's life even just a little bit better. And that'll make you feel good, especially when you can connect it to your purpose. And so encouraging your audience to do something today. Go connect. As soon as you lose connection to your why, your life starts to become meaningless. Your work becomes meaningless. When you connect back to the why you're doing this, how you're trying to serve, that's when everything lights up again.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the only thing that would get rid of my anxiety was, I'm going to go help somebody else today. That was my own personal tagline, was I'm going to go add some value. Because I couldn't figure out how to shift the anxiety, how to get the stomach ache to go away, or that nervous energy, and until I thought, I'm going to go help somebody today, and that's when I started doing a lot more coaching or creating programs, because there was someone this was going to help, and I would just focus on helping them, and then I would feel a sense of ease. And you're right, the bowl of ice cream is fun while you're eating it, and then it's over. Right. But when you're helping people, and you can help people through a compliment, you can help them by opening a door, by posting this interview, right? Or sharing your website on, evancarmichael.com or your YouTube channel. You have the #1 YouTube channel in the world on personal development. And so just sharing things like that, because what stops people is they're like, well, I can't do that. I'm nobody special. I'm not rich. I don't have connections. I can't help somebody fix their mind. I can barely fix my own, right? But you got to focus on what you can do, and take the advice that you've been sharing.
Yeah. And I know we're kind of bumping up against the clock, but I think there's a million reasons why you can't win. There's a million reasons why you can't win. You don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the talent, you don't have the money, you don't have the connections, all of the reasons why you can't win that we tell ourselves. And if you talk to your friends and your family, they'll give you a million reasons more why you can't win and you're not good enough. So there's a million reasons why you can't win, and 8 why you will. And 8 is an abundance of reasons. You just need to focus on those 8. Where most people focus on the million, all you need to do is focus on the 8. And you only need one of those 8 to work out. And then you win. And it's just that shift. I know it's in the work that I do and the work that you do, just trying to make people shift to believe in themselves that, hey, you can win. If you keep focusing on negative, you're going to get negative. Focus on the 8 and let's win together.
Well said. Evan Carmichael. Evan, thank you so much for being on the program with us today. The advice is spectacular. You've really been mesmerizing. And thank you so much for all the service that you're providing, because I know that that's where you're really driven from the heart. And so thank you so much for being an inspiration.
Appreciate you, Tim. Thanks for the vibe, the energy, the great questions. And I'm so pumped that you decided to do this too. Thanks for inviting me. If you want to see another awesome interview I did, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.